So today I will be taking you through the official website for Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, IRCC. So though I have mentioned this quite a few times, I still have people who keep commenting on my video under my videos about how they get charged to pay like $15, $20, $50 on some websites just to check their eligibility, just to check their scores for the Express Entry Permanent Residence. That is not official. I do get it, maybe the immigration lawyers or agents and they must get paid for their service. So I have no problem with that. But officially, there is no charge for that. The only time you get to pay money when applying for Express Entry is when, after submitting your application, you do receive an invitation to apply for your permanent residence. That is the only time you pay any money to IRCC. Any other amounts you may pay before that is maybe for IELTS or for your academic evaluation, but none of those goes to IRCC. You only pay to IRCC when you do receive an ITA. So today I am going to take you through the process, take you to the official website, show you how to calculate your own scores so you don't have to go to unofficial sources. I will also show you where to find all the official immigration pathways that Canada is currently running. So to do that, we will search for cic.gc.ca. This is the official website. So with that, click on search. I will take my face off it so that you can see the full screen. So now you get to choose which language you want, which is English for me. And now that we're here, let me mention this. So I keep telling people to check the application processing times, especially if you think your application is delaying. There are no fixed application processing times for everybody. It depends on your country, it depends on the type of visa, it depends on a lot of factors. So one thing you can do is to come here and you click on this. Click check application processing times. And when you go there, they will ask you a few questions about like the country you are applying from, which type of visa you are applying, and they'll give you the average time that they used to normally process visas in that country, your type of visa in your country. That is what you get there. So yours may be a bit longer than that or a bit shorter than that. If you have a normal application, it shouldn't go above that period that they give you. So before you send a web form, make sure you come and check your processing time and ensure that it's not passed yet. Otherwise, even if you fill a web form, they will just ignore you. If you do have any update about your application, like you have to change some details about it, then yes, you can always send a web form anytime. But if it's just to make inquiries about why is it delaying, what is happening and all of that, they will not reply you if it's still within normal processing times. Now that that's been said, let me also mention about the sign in or create an IRCC secure account. This is where you create an account in case you want to finally apply for a visa. So you create an account, they ask you a few questions, you answer them, and then that becomes your official account where you can apply for any type of visa in Canada. But that is when you now know what you want to go for. So since we now want to check our eligibility, I'll take you down here and I'll take you to immigrate. That's for people who want to move to Canada, live here, get their permanent residence and work. It's not for visit, it's not for work permit, it's not for study permits. This is for people who want to come here through the permanent residency pathways, and that is what I want to show you today. So you go to immigrate. Then we go down here. What we want is an express entry. So this is where you find all immigration pathways to Canada, all officially run immigration pathways to Canada. So the express entry is the federal the federal program, where if you do qualify and get your permanent residency, you get to live in any part of Canada that you want. You come in as a permanent resident and you don't need any visas, no renewal of visas or whatever. You are a permanent resident. And as a permanent resident, you can sponsor your family, that is your spouse, your partner, children, parents, and grandparents. Those are the ones you can sponsor, not uncles or nieces or nephews or whatever. These are the ones you can sponsor as a Canadian permanent resident. We also have the provincial nominee, where, especially for most people who don't qualify for the federal, they do apply to the province. The province nominates them, and then they get to apply for permanent residency and come and live in that province. So as you can see, if you go down there, we have a lot of pathways for permanent residence in Canada. But I will not go through them now. I will find time and go through in each of them individually. But as I've already showed you where to find them, you can go in there, click on what you want to know about. You have all the details, eligibility criteria, how to apply, and everything. You don't need to pay an agent or anyone to do those things for you. You can read by yourself, get to know the requirements, documents you need, and everything, even before you apply. So now we'll go to Express Entry. Since we want to know how it works and check our CRS scores, that is the points we need for our permanent residency, and get to know whether we qualify or not, this is where we will go. So we click on how Express Entry works. Then down here, you see all of these are explanations on how the Express Entry works. So you can take your time and go through all of them. But for now, I just want to help you check your score. So you come to use the CRS tool to estimate your score. As it says, to estimate your scores. This is just an estimate. So you use this tool, they tell you how much points you probably have based on the information you have provided. But most of the time, after starting the application and giving you your documents and everything, your points may increase or it may decrease a bit. So you come here and you click on this. And now they take you through the process to check your scores. So it starts from here. The first question is your marital status. For Express Entry, your marital status does determine how your points are calculated. If you are married, the first part of the points are shared between you and your spouse. Not equally, you have the majority of them, but some of them are taken out for your spouse. So it all has its pros and cons, because for some people, by themselves, they can get all the academic so for some people, by themselves, they have enough points and they can get the maximum points. But when they add their spouse here, if their spouse doesn't have, say, high educational qualifications or enough work experience, then it somehow reduces your points. But not much, just a few. But when it comes to Express Entry, every single point matters. So as I said, it all has its pros and cons. For some people to add in their spouse rather boost their points, because by themselves they wouldn't get enough points. So what is your marital status? Let's say I am single, so never married, single. Then they ask, how old are you? They skip question 2, because if I had said I was married, then question 2 will be about my spouse. But I'm not married, so they skip it. You go to question 3. How old are you? Your age also determines how many points you get here. So from 18 to I think 20, you get points on age, but it's low. And I think from 21 to 29, that is where you get the maximum points. That's 110. After 29, that's 30 years and above, your points for age start reducing until 45, where it's 0. So let's say I am 29 now. So I choose 29. And what is your level of education? So this is where academic evaluations come to play? Because when you are doing this, it's based on Canadian equivalence. You may have a degree in your country, but in Canada, that degree may only be qualified as a diploma or a 3-year degree or something else. So it is better to always have your academic evaluation before you start the process. That is why this is an estimate. So you do this because you know, yes, I know I have a degree, so I'm going to use this to know. Then when I find out I have enough points, I will go through the official process of doing my academic evaluation, writing my IELTS and everything. Because I don't want you to start spending money when you don't even know whether you will qualify or not. That is why I ask you to just go through this initial. Let this be your first step. So let's say you have a master's degree. So you go through here and they ask you all of these. So they have none or less than secondary school, that's high school. Obviously, that gives you the minimum marks. Secondary school, that's high school graduation. 1-year program at a university, college, trade. So you have just a 1-year program, you click there. 2-year program at a university, you click here. Bachelor's degree. So in Canada, we have 3 years bachelor's degree and a 4-year bachelor's degree. So that is the difference between them. So they have a 3 or more year program at a university, you click here. If you have 2 or more certificates, that's diplomas or degree, and one must be for a program of 3 or more years. So let me use Ghana as an example. There are people who go to like training school, maybe nursing training or teacher training, diploma, and later they further for their degree. So for such people, choosing 2 or more certificates will be more beneficial for them. Because if you just choose, yes, I have a degree, that's bachelor's degree, you're going to get less points. If you choose 2 or more certificates, because you do have a diploma and you do have a degree now, that helps you get more points here. So let's say that is who I am. So I have 2 or more certificates. There's also master's degree or professional degree. So professional degree, if you open this in a computer, they will tell you exactly what a professional degree means. I think it's for like medical doctors, dentists, and a few other professions. Not every professional degree qualifies as a professional degree here. They have specific titles that you have to ensure you fall within before you can choose this. And then the last one is doctoral level university degree. That's a PhD. So for now, let's say I have 2 or more certificates. I don't have a master's yet, but I did a diploma, I went to further and did a degree. So I choose this. Have you earned a Canadian degree, diploma, or certificate? No, I have never been to Canada, so I don't have a Canadian degree or certificate. So no. Official languages. So to even qualify for Express Entry, first of all, you need IELTS or any English proficiency exam as they have here. They will show you which ones. So do you have any English proficiency or French proficiency exams? If you have it, yes or no. The moment you choose no, automatically they will tell you you are not eligible. So since, as I said, you have to do this and estimate your points before you start spending any money on it. So I will choose yes. Which language test did you take for your official language? So these are the approved or official ones that Canada accepts. We have the CELPIP, we have IELTS, and all of this. So let's say I'm going to be doing IELTS. So I choose IELTS, and they ask your scores for each place: speaking, listening, reading, and writing. Since I have not done IELTS yet, but I still want to know my scores, so it means I have to put something there. So one thing you have to know here is you've not taken the IELTS yet. So whatever point you put here is just going to give you your estimated points. If you actually take the exam and you get better points, better marks than you put here, your points will go a little bit higher. If you take the exam and you get lower points than you put here, it means your points are going to reduce. So make sure you are putting something that you feel okay, confident in. So for speaking, IELTS is out of band 9. You don't necessarily have to get band 9 before you get all the points. For speaking, you just have to get 7.5 and you get the highest points. 7.5 to 9, it doesn't matter to them. You get the highest points for them for that. For listening, you need an 8.5 or 9 to get the highest point. So let's say I got 8.5, so I choose that. Reading, you only need to get an 8.0 to 9 to get the highest points. And writing, you need 7.5 to 9.0 to get the highest marks there. So I choose that too. I fall between all of that. Just with this, it means you get the full marks in the exam. One thing though is, if you follow the trend of the draws, mostly the francophone points happen to be very, very low, much lower than the anglophone ones. So let's say you speak French, and as a result you have a French proficiency exam and your scores. Even if you have a lower point, you have a much higher chance of getting your ITA than someone who speaks only English. So if I did speak French and I had taken a French proficiency exam, I would choose French as my first official language here and then put the points here instead, because then it puts you in the francophone stream. And their points, as of now, the anglophone points are somewhere around 530 plus, but francophone is still less than 400, which gives you a very, very good chance of getting your PR. So for people who do speak French, this is your chance. So they also ask, do you have other language results? If so, which language test did you take? Because they don't want you to just say, yes, I speak the language. You need an English proficiency exam to prove that, yes, I speak it and I can communicate in that language should I move to your country. So then you choose if you have done any of these and you write it. But as I said, French proficiency gives you a higher chance. So if you do have French, use that as your first and use English second. So not applicable, I don't have. And then they ask of your work experience. So the question here is, in the last 10 years, how many years of skilled work experience in Canada do you have? This is where a lot of people make a mistake. They are asking about your points in Canada, not in your country. So for most people who have never worked in Canada, you just have to choose none or less than 1 year. That's all. Then they ask a second question. In the last 10 years, how many total years of foreign skilled work experience do you have? Foreign here means outside of Canada. So yes, to you and where you are, Canada may be foreign, but this is from Canada. This is Canada based. So your country is foreign to them. So do not write Canada's years of work experience here. This is for whatever work experience you have outside Canada. So let's say I have, as you can see, it's just 1, 2, 3 or more years. So if you have 10 years work experience or 3 years work experience, it doesn't matter. 3 is good enough for them. So I choose 3 years. I have just 3 years work experience. Do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province? This is for people who have the provincial nominee. Since I have not gone through the provincial nominee and I have not been nominated by any province, I'll choose no. And this is where they take you through the additional points. Do you have an LMIA? Do you have a valid job offer supported by an LMIA? Have you received a job offer from a company and they've given you an LMIA? Then yes, you can choose here, but I don't have any. So I choose no, I don't. Do you have a nomination certificate from a province or territory? That's, as I said, I mentioned here. So no for that. Okay, so I think this one is a bit do you have a certificate of qualification from a Canadian province, territory, or federal body? A certificate of qualification lets people work in skilled trades in Canada. Only the provinces, territories, or federal body can issue those certificates. Yes, I still don't have those anyway. So yeah, let's move on. Number 10 is do you or your spouse or common law partner, that's if you did choose that you have a spouse or common law partner, do they have a sibling, a brother or sister living in Canada who is a citizen or permanent resident? If you choose yes, you get 15 additional points. If you choose no, as in they don't have any sibling, then you don't get any points there. So I don't have any sibling living in Canada, so no. And one thing is, you don't have to lie about anything because everything have to go with your proof. Just submitting the application is not a problem. But once you receive the invitation to apply, you have to provide evidence for every single thing. And the last thing you want to do is to be found wanting, is for them to realize you lied to them, you have been unfaithful, because that will be the end. They will just cancel your application. So now we go to calculate your score. So this gives you your estimated scores. So for age, I choose 29. So I get the full points there. Age 110. Level of education 128. Official languages 136. Because I have a first official language, I don't have a second one. So I only get this. I don't have any Canadian work experience. So the subtotal for core human capital factors 374. Spouse factors, since I don't even have a spouse to begin with, I get 0 there. Skill transferability factors education. So for your official language proficiency and education, you get 50. Foreign work experience, that's the one you have in your country, foreign work experience, you get 52. So and the subtotal for skill transferability factors, you get 100. Then additional points to a maximum of 600. If you have a provincial nominee, you already get 600 just from there alone. You don't even need a job offer. Yeah, so that's how it works. But since I didn't have any of these, I get 0 for there. So at the end of the day, you have a comprehensive ranking system formula. That's the CRS formula. Grand total of 474. If I have 474 here, as I said, for Anglophone, for English speaking people, the points now is somewhere around like 530 plus. It used to be very low, like pre-COVID used to be very low because it was being run constantly. So people were getting off it. But after COVID, since they paused for a while, a lot of people put in the applications and a lot of people have a lot of points, especially students in Canada. Because students in Canada have the job of Canadian work experience. They have the Canadian education and a lot of other things. Some even have their own LMI. They have job offers to also put in there. Yes, so people do have a lot of points. But I know with time it's still going to get back to normal, get somewhere within the 400s. So yes, this is how you get to know your points for the permanent residency express entry. And as you saw, this is quite easy to do by yourself. You don't need to pay an agent for this. So just try and do things by yourself. As I said earlier, I will take time and go through all the immigration programs. These ones, I will take my time and make specific videos on the main ones, not all of them, but the main ones. I know the one for rural and northern immigration pilot program is the deadline is almost up. It's for people who want to live in the rural and northern regions of Canada. So they have specific cities and specific qualifications for those. But as I said, I'll take time and go through all of them individually. Okay, so have a nice day, and I hope you do qualify for one of these. And make sure you don't go through any other unofficial websites and get duped. Have a nice day.